Before Columbus ever sailed, there were already cities in the Americas bigger than London. Cities with running water, massive pyramids rising above jungles, and calendars so precise they could track time better than Europe. So here's the question. If civilizations this advanced already existed, why did most of their history disappear in less than 500 years? And even more mysterious, who were the first people to get here? Because they didn't have ships like Columbus. No maps, no compass. So how did they cross into an unknown world thousands of years before anyone else? Let's go back 20,000 years. The world doesn't look like it does today. The oceans shrink, entire seas vanish, revealing land that hasn't existed for thousands of years. And between what we now call Siberia and Alaska, a massive frozen plain appears. We call it Beringia, but to the people who lived then, it was just land, endless, cold, dangerous. Across this land, herds move slowly south. Mammoths, giant bison, creatures the size of trucks, and behind them, humans follow. Not explorers, not conquerors, just survivors. They weren't trying to discover anything. They were just trying to not die. For years, maybe generations, they follow the herds. Step by step, they cross into a completely new continent, and they don't even realize it. No signs, no borders, no moment where someone says, "We made it." Just cold winds and the instinct to keep moving. But here's where it gets interesting. This wasn't just one group. It happened multiple times. Different waves of people crossing at different moments in history. Some may have even traveled by sea, hugging the Pacific coastline in primitive boats, which means this wasn't luck. This was strategy. These weren't primitive wanderers. They were problem solvers. They built weapons precise enough to take down animals 10 times their size. They understood angles, force, timing, because one mistake meant death. And then everything changed. The giants disappeared. Mammoths, saber-toothed cats, gone. And now the question was simple: adapt or die. So they adapted. They hunted smaller animals. They worked together. They experimented. And slowly, they made one of the greatest discoveries in human history. They learned how to grow food. Somewhere in what is now Mexico, wild plants began to change. A grass called teosinte was transformed over generations into something new: maize, corn. It didn't happen overnight. It took centuries, but once it worked, it changed everything. Because now humans didn't have to follow food. They could stay. They could build. And across the Americas, civilization began. From that single breakthrough, entire worlds rise. The first, the Olmec. Moving stones weighing 40 tons, without metal tools, without wheels. Something we still don't fully understand. Then the Maya, who wrote, calculated, and tracked the stars with incredible precision, inventing the concept of zero long before Europe even understood it, building massive cities deep in the jungle that still stand today. And then the Aztec, who built a city in the middle of a lake, a city of over 200,000 people, larger than most European cities at the time, with floating farms, complex water systems, and a functioning economy. This wasn't a lost world. This was a superpower. But here's the truth about every civilization. It doesn't matter how powerful you are, you can still fall. For the Maya, something began to break. The rains stopped. Year after year, less water. Crops failed. Cities became unstable. Wars began. Populations collapsed. And slowly, the jungle took everything back, stone by stone, memory by memory, until entire cities disappeared. Then the Aztec rose, stronger, more organized, but with one critical weakness. They ruled through fear, and when outsiders arrived, that weakness was exposed. In 1519, Hernán Cortés landed in Mexico. History says he conquered millions with just a few hundred men. But that's not what really happened. What actually happened was collapse from within. Alliances formed against the Aztec, and diseases spread, especially smallpox. Invisible but devastating. And within a short time, an empire that took centuries to build was gone. But here's what's strange. They never really disappeared. Their words still exist. Their ideas still exist. Their descendants are still here. So maybe the real question isn't who discovered the Americas. Maybe it's this. How did we forget a civilization this advanced? A civilization that built cities without iron, that fed millions without destroying the land, that adapted when survival demanded it. So now I want to ask you, if a civilization could achieve all of this without the technologies we think are essential, what does that say about human potential? And more importantly, what are we capable of today that we're completely overlooking? Let me know what you think in the comments, and if you enjoyed this, subscribe, because every week we uncover stories that history almost erased.